what you're going to see tomorrow is that you will likely see the candidate of the National Democratic Alliance, C.P. Radhakrishnan, winning, but he would win with the lowest share of votes by any vice presidential candidate ever. Even in the victory of CPR, there seems to be a potential loss for Modi and Shah and their sway over the party and over the political landscape, even you can say. Naveen Patnaik's party announced that they will abstain. And within an hour, BRS announced it too would abstain. So that's 12 votes gone. That leaves 6 votes, out of which there are 3 independents who are being talked to by both the opposition and the ruling party. We'll have to see where they cast their votes. But what is of interest is that not only that the efforts of Modi Shah to take the tally beyond 439 votes has been significantly now constrained. It would probably remain range bound around that. But what one is hearing, there is a fear. There is a fear that some of the MPs in the ruling coalition may not show up to vote. But what if some people from Telugu Desam party stay away? Because please bear in mind that the opposition candidate is a Telugu.
Most of the MPs are not happy. Do you see the possibility of any BJP MP crossing over and voting for Justice Reddy at all? Or do you think that's a possibility?
As I said, I seriously doubt if that would happen. But what I would not be surprised if some BJP MPs stay away from voting. That's a possibility.
No, but staying away, if the BJP MPs also abstain from voting, what is the larger message then goes out at the end of this vice president elections?
Yeah, that's the message that goes out, that you won, but you still lost.
Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. Countdown has begun to the much hyped vice president elections, which is scheduled for tomorrow. That is 9th of September. Now, what has happened in the last few days? JP Nadda has held a dinner meeting. Prime Minister has met all the BJP MPs, including the NDA partners. Opposition MPs today met in the Central Hall, what I'm told. And of course, this has got to do a lot with the training session of the MPs. But let's not forget that these MPs are not naive. They are familiar with the voting process, which is going to happen, of course, with the ballot paper tomorrow. But how are the odds stacked up? That is the million-dollar question. How are the numbers favoring the NDA and the India alliance? Which candidate seems to be winning? Which side is the arithmetic? How many people will abstain? How many will remain absent? Will there be a cross-voting? All these possibilities are being discussed in the political corridors, just as now a few hours left for the voting process to begin tomorrow. Joining me this evening is a veteran journalist who's been in touch with various political parties. He knows what is happening in and out. His name is Rajesh Mahapatra. Rajesh, thank you so much for joining on HW News. And I would really want to ask you that as far as the odds are concerned, how are they stacked up? Is it going to be an easy election, like what we may ask for the viewers, for the sake of the viewers, that we saw an astounding victory for Mr. Jagdeep Dhankar? Are we going to see a result like that in 2025? And especially this is an election which apparently has been imposed on the nation because of Jagdeep Dhankar's resignation.
No, obviously, Needu, thank you for inviting me to your show. We have spoken on other platforms and I have said this there, and I'm going to repeat it. It's of course not, you're not going to see a repeat of 2022 when Jagdeep Dhankar got elected with 74% of votes. You're not going to see a repeat of even the margin with which Venkaiah Naidu won, which was, he got 68%. Even before that, Mohammad Hamid Ansari, as a UPA candidate in 2012, he had secured nearly 67% votes. In 2007, Ansari, who won for the first time, had gotten 61%. And Vero Singh Shekhawat, when NDA was in power in 2002, he got elected to the office of vice president, winning 59.8% votes. And that was the lowest share of votes polled by any vice presidential candidate ever. What you're going to see tomorrow is that you will likely see the candidate of the National Democratic Alliance, C.P. Radhakrishnan, winning, but he would win with the lowest share of votes by any vice presidential candidate ever.
Right. But what is this indication? If Radhakrishnan, the possibility looks like that he will win the election, but if he's winning with a lowest margin so far seen in these many years, what does it really indicate about the Modi-Shah duo, their stranglehold over the parliament, their leadership, and what happens if at all there is any cross-voting? Will there be huge question marks on the dominance of the Modi-Shah pair, which has been so charismatic, which has been so muscly all this while?
There is a saying, even when you win, you lose. In a way, that's what is kind of playing out.
Okay.
Even in the victory of CPR, there seems to be a potential loss for Modi and Shah and their sway over the party and over the political landscape, even you can say. Now, let me just kind of break it down a bit. So what's the state of play? What we know on paper, the NDA alliance has been assured support of 439 MPs from Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. As we know, in the vice presidential election, all MPs vote, MPs of the two houses. The total now, as of now, if you take aside the vacancies, the total number is 781. Out of 781, you basically need 390 votes to win. And the NDA candidate is, on paper, assured of 439 MPs support. The opposition candidate is assured of 324 MPs support. And that leaves aside another 18 MPs. Over the past few days, Modi and Shah and the leadership of Bharatiya Janata Party has been trying desperately to get these 18 MPs on their side. Because the 439 constitutes 56% of the electoral college. And as I said, if that happens, it would be the lowest share of votes polled by a winning vice presidential candidate ever. They don't want that. They want to take that vote percentage to 58, 59, 60, whatever. But unfortunately, things haven't gone their way. Up until yesterday, it wasn't clear where Biju Janata Dal will vote. It wasn't clear where Bharat Rashtra Samiti of Chandrasekhar Rao in Telangana would vote. Today, Navin Patnaik's party announced that they will abstain. And within an hour, BRS announced it too would abstain. So that's 12 votes gone. That leaves 6 votes, out of which there are 3 independents who are being talked to by both the opposition and the ruling party. We'll have to see where they cast their votes. But what is of interest is that not only that, the efforts of Modi Shah to take the tally beyond 439 votes has been significantly now constrained. It would probably remain range bound around that. But what one is hearing, there is a fear. There is a fear that some of the MPs in the ruling coalition may not show up to vote. So you asked about cross voting.
Rajesh, when you say that some of the people in the ruling coalition might not show up to vote, so which means that they will abstain, and there might be people from BJP as well who might abstain. There might be people, like you already explained, how BJD and the BRS is going to abstain. What happens then in case of so many abstentions? What is it going to result into?
See, BJD, BRS are outside of these coalitions. That number we have got. Now, what I'm saying, on paper, NDA seems to have the support of 439 MPs. But what if some people from Telugu Desam party stay away? Because please bear in mind that the opposition candidate is a Telugu. Okay. I mean, things work in very different way because this is a secret ballot. So, you asked about cross voting. I think
and also there is no whip. People have to vote according to their conscience.
Absolutely. Yes, there is no whip and it's a secret ballot. And that's why there is always the fear of cross voting. But please remember, politicians, unlike what most people think, they play for the long term. And they sense which way the wind is blowing. Now, today's decision by Biju Janata Dal and BRS to abstain also sends out a signal to many of the other fence-sitters. So, even the other 6 MPs, their behavior may get influenced by the decisions taken by BJD and BRS, the ones who are untied. But what is more important is that the question that you were asking, will there be cross-voting? In such an election, the opposition rank is always more vulnerable to cross-voting. Now, the decision of BJD and BRS may act as a dissuasive factor for any person in the opposition rank thinking of switching over, unless somebody has been kind of appropriated in a different way. But that's very unlikely. So you're going to see, actually, my sense is that there is likely to be minimal cross-voting. Within the ruling coalition also, it is very unlikely that anybody would cross-vote for the opposition candidate. What might happen, however, some disgruntled elements might just choose to stay back. Now, if they stay back, even then the tally goes down. So it makes the task of the leaders, Narendra Modi, be it Amit Shah or JP Nadda, to shore up the share of votes, okay, which is what they want to do. What if they end up finally with 54, 53% of votes? It's not going to tell a good story. It sends out a very strong signal. And that's why I said, even though you win, you still lose.
Right. So in terms of optics, how is it going to play out? And also in terms of politics, like what you said, that it's not sending out a very good signal. BRS and BJD anyways were not part of the NDA. But there are many people who are still talking about cross-voting happening from the NDA side. What is the likelihood of that? You've been speaking to a number of leaders. You see the possibility of that cross-voting?
I doubt. If you look back also, usually no vice president candidate of a ruling coalition has ever lost. And very rarely people from the ruling side have cross-voted. If at all, people from the opposition ranks, that's why I said they're more vulnerable. But that also may not happen because people are sensing a change, the winds of a change, right? An interesting thing is that you talked about JP Nadda. I don't know. I've been kind of reading reports. I think that dinner was cancelled. Some other kind of meeting happened. And even Kharge was planning to host a dinner. That also didn't happen. And I think, part of the problem is that there are people busy with Bihar elections. Then there are people, there are several places where things are very badly affected by floods. So I think
Floods, yes.
the MPs were not able to make it before the weekend, and which is what has forced these people, because if you had a meeting and there are a large number of people were absent there, it would send out a different kind of message to the media. So I think that probably would have prompted them to cancel. But we read in the papers, from what I have read in the papers, and I spoke to a couple of beat reporters, what transpired at the meeting where Modi spoke with all his MPs. It turns out that most of the conversation from the PM side was focused on how they should all be working to change people's perception, how they should improve their conduct in parliament, how they should do their homework to talk on issues. I didn't find that the matter of vice president's election was talked about in any noticeable fashion. Today, they are supposed to do a few things, so which kind of tells us that the earlier efforts of trying to store up the numbers in support of the VP candidate, I think they kind of have now come to terms with the reality that, look, we have 439, let's be happy with it. Maybe there would be few abstentions, some people may not be able to come, somebody might have fallen sick or whatever. But we have a number more than 400 and we will win, and let's be with it. Let's start focusing on the other burning issues, which is actually,
is it not true, Rajesh, that what I heard was that Prime Minister in between, like about 3-4 days ago, was so nervous that he was calling the MPs independently on the phone, talking to them. A Prime Minister who never bothered even to stop by and say hello to the MPs. And here there were reports that Prime Minister Modi was calling up MPs one by one. Is that true, or these are just rumors in the political corridors?
No, I do not know, but I won't be surprised. I mean, contrary to what you say, Modi is an astute politician. He does keep in touch directly with a lot of people, and it is not unusual for him. Forget about MP. He's known to call up MLAs. He's known to call up even municipality level leader. He has a very different way of operating, and that's the reason why he is so successful. That's why he also has such a strong grip over the organization. I mean, let us not underestimate. Let's give the devil his due. So calling up MPs, I won't say something surprising. He does that. He knows exactly how to respond. This is a party you are talking about, and this is a leadership you are talking about, who are pretty good at course correction. And they don't give up until the end. So even as we speak, we don't know. There are still 24 hours to go. You don't know what might be cooking. So they won't be giving up. They would still be talking. But there are certain things which have happened. Biju Janata Dal has decided to abstain. BRS has decided to abstain. Their abstention is sending out a very strong message. Anybody who would have gotten tempted to cross vote from the opposition rank is likely to be discouraged. The morale on the ruling side may be a little down. So, all these things in politics, a lot of things work. And clearly, things are not going good. So this is, you can say, at a time, you get very badly cornered on the Trump affairs. You completely mess it up. There has been unseasonal rains, unexpected kind of downpour across the country. A lot of places there's a crisis situation, so you're dealing with that. You're running a government, and the headaches have simply just spiraled in the last 2-3 months. And in the middle of that, if you are trying to look for some solace or some cushioning from the vice presidential election, that's also not coming your way. So what I'm trying to say is, things are not going good for the ruling dispensation. And with each passing day, something or the other is happening, which is making things even worse. Now, who expected a vice presidential election now? It's just that Jagdeep Dhankar one fine evening decides to quit. And now you have a vice presidential election. And who expected if this vice presidential election had happened 8-9 months ago, they would have just walked through with a lot more votes. But it happens at a time when the opposition is closing ranks. The vote chori campaign has picked up. There is a significant show of unity that we are seeing within opposition ranks. Now, 2022, there are several people who are in the India blog who abstained. Okay, that made Jagdeep Dhankar walk away with 74% votes. But that's not happening. 2025 is a different ballgame. The opposition is a lot more emboldened today. I will tell the audience also to read a very interesting piece that has come out in India today on Mood of the Nation. Yashwant Deshmukh of Sea Voter, who is usually perceived to have a little sympathetic view toward the ruling dispensation, he has written that it's natural to see resentment and disappointment when a government gets into a third term. But it's not usual to see that resentment and disappointment translate into anger. And he says that the Mood of the Nation survey reveals that anger is palpable. Anger among people is palpable, and there are alarm bells ringing. Unless BJP course corrects on an emergent basis, it could be in for big trouble. And we will see some of it now. Bihar. So vice president election is done, dusted tomorrow. And next we move on to Bihar in November. We don't know what is in store.
But once a vice president is elected, and of course, vice president has to do a lot with the operations and functioning of the Rajya Sabha especially. What does it mean in terms of the kind of hold Prime Minister Modi and Shah would be having on Parliament in the coming days? Of course, there's going to be another winter session now coming up after the monsoon session has got over, and then the budget session. What does it really mean for Modi and Shah? This vice president election, totally I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Bihar elections, but vice president elections, what does it mean for Modi and Shah, according to you?
Well, Jagdeep Dhankar came with 75% votes. You can say, in a way, it also showed the way he chose to conduct himself in the House. He was extremely arbitrary. He was extremely partisan. And the Rajya Sabha, you usually see a very different kind of conduct by the chairman. The vice president is the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Now, it differs from individual to individual. So CP Radhakrishnan, we'll have to wait and see how he does. He's also a very seasoned politician, veteran. But what is very clear, that you would have a lot more emboldened opposition in Rajya Sabha. And, of course, he is not coming in with 75% votes in his pocket. He's coming in with a margin which is just a modest margin. And that will somehow bear on his mind. And it will also, I would think it would show in his demeanor, the way he conducts. And all said and done, if you want to get things done, you have to move through the chairman, right? And not everything can be scripted, how things happen in the House. It's kind of always an outcome of members vis-a-vis the chairman, how he manages the members. I would say, I would hope that the Rajya Sabha becomes more orderly and relatively more democratic in its functioning than what we had seen in Dhankar's case. As far as Modi,
so you are saying that we will not be able to see Mr. Radhakrishnan ramrodding things the way Mr. Jagdeep Dhankar did, because he doesn't enjoy that kind of confidence of the MPs.
One, and two, whatever little bit I know of him, it's also persona, right? You make certain guesses by watching the persona, right? So one would hope. But as far as the leadership of BJP is concerned, and Prime Minister Modi is concerned, his government has been pushing a lot of things without discussion and debate, and they would continue with that effort. And I think, at the end of the day, so I can say that what I understand is that C.P. Radhakrishnan could very well become a man of his own. So it's not that, because I think he comes from a very hard-baked RSS background.
Right.
So it's not that he won't always be taking
what Modi and Shah
directions from 7 Rescourse Road. Okay,
right.
He could be keeping some other interests in mind. And we know that everything is not hunky-dory within BJP, within RSS. There are changes likely to happen in RSS in the coming months. We don't know what kind of changes are going to happen in BJP, because they still don't have a president, because nobody says it officially, but it is because they can't agree to a candidate, because whoever probably RSS wants, Modi and Shah don't want him. Whoever probably Modi and Shah would prefer, RSS doesn't want that candidate. And that's why for such a long time BJP is without a president. And it's actually a serious matter. Nobody talks about it.
Right. In fact, one day before, people are also raising questions about Mr. Dhankar's whereabouts. Now that it's very clear that he's moved to a new farmhouse in a village near Chhatarpur in Delhi. And Dainik Bhaskar today has done an investigation where it is shown that there are round-the-clock security guards. No one is allowed to meet him. What about those questions around Mr. Jagdeep Dhankar? Why is he not allowed to speak? Why is he under almost like a house arrest situation? Are the people not going to ask these questions? And will this factor not be on the minds of all the MPs who will vote tomorrow?
I don't know. If I knew the answers, I would have been winning Pulitzer Prize for investigative journalism. Because, but it's a question. Where is Dhankar? Suddenly, you have a vice president who is never tired of talking, attending events, functions, being in the limelight, and he's just suddenly gone. We are in a democracy. We ought to be asking. You should ask your friends in the media. Why are they not asking this question? What happened? So I think that story, I don't know, but I think there is a big story out there. And one day that story is going to come out. And when that story comes out...
No, but as long as Modi continues to remain the prime minister, or as long as BJP remains in power, do you think Dhankar will really break his silence on this particular issue, on why this resignation happened?
I don't know. But I don't know. Dhankar is a guy, maybe someday he would spill the beans. We don't know. But how does that matter? Now I think for now he has been menaced. And
that's right.
I think we get really bogged down with all these things. I really don't pay so much attention to some of these. There are definitely stories, there are issues, but I think the big picture today is across the country, things are not good. The economy is not doing well. People are not happy. There is anger, and there's palpable anger amongst people. And they're getting even more frustrated because their resentment is not finding the right expression, because people have a feeling that the electoral process is manipulated to some extent. I think you can't carry on like this for very long. So I think there is a realization of this also within Bharatiya Janata Party. There is a realization of this within the Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh.
No, but do you see the possibility of few BJP leaders also not voting for Radhakrishnan? Because like what I'm told by, off the record by many leaders, that, there's a 90% of the BJP MPs are not very happy with the way the things are happening with the Prime Minister, with Amit Shah. Most of the MPs are not happy. Do you see the possibility of any BJP MP crossing over and voting for Justice Reddy at all? Or do you think that's a remote possibility?
As I said, I seriously doubt if that would happen. But what I would not be surprised if some BJP MPs stay away from voting. That's a possibility.
No, but staying away, if the BJP MPs also abstain from voting, what is the larger message then goes out at the end of this vice president elections?
Yeah, that's the message that you goes out, that you won, but you still lost. That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, it kind of dents the sway that Modi and Shah would like to convey that they have over various aspects of the political architecture. It says that no, the grip is weakening. That's what you are going to see.
Right.
I mean, by this time tomorrow, we would get to see the numbers. But
yes,
again,
absolutely.
as I always say, in politics, anything can happen. And in politics, sometimes things don't happen for days, and many things happen within a day. So we still have few hours to go for the polls. Who knows? They might succeed also winning over some support, but it's unlikely. I mean, what we can talk only on the basis of what we have heard on record, what we are seeing, which is that by and large, on paper, NDA has 439 votes, which is about 56%. There may be few abstentions there as well. Similarly, the opposition bloc has got 324 votes, which is roughly about 42%. If at all there is cross-voting, it is likely to be very minimal. Most of the cross-voting would probably, if at all there are some, that very few cross-voting that may happen, will probably likely happen from the opposition side in favor of the NDA candidate. If at all in NDA there are people who are not happy, instead of cross-voting, maybe some alliance partner. I don't rule out some TDP MPs might cross over. We don't know, because it's just...
No, but what about Naidu and his party in general? What is going to be the stance? Like what you said, Justice Reddy speaks Telugu. He did meet Chandrababu Naidu. What if there is a change of heart as far as Naidu and Nitish are concerned?
The opposition candidate is a Reddy, and YSR party is a Reddy party. It's not TDP so much. It's the YSR party, and I think YSR party has got nearly 12 MPs, I think, or more than that. Yeah. So yeah, I think 12 MPs, and YSR Congress, their stronghold is in the Reddy area. So you have to keep that in mind, and the Reddy solidarity is a very solid solidarity. So there may something happen. Your question about cross-voting, that is one area where there is some risk. But otherwise, if there are disgruntled members of BJP, if you're referring to, they would abstain, they would find some excuse not to come, but it's highly unlikely that they would cross over. So by and large, you're going to see this candidate, unless some miracle happens overnight, that CP Radhakrishnan winning under roughly about 55% of votes, which will be the lowest ever vote share that any winning vice presidential candidate has got in the history of independent India. And that's not a good thing for Modi and Shah.
Absolutely. And you made a very important point that even if he wins, he'll be winning by a very low margin. In fact, the lowest in the history of independent India. That's a very, very significant point. And I'm sure by tomorrow evening, by this time, as we are discussing, I'm sure we will be analyzing the numbers, who's voted where, and what has been the outcome. Thank you so much, Rajesh, for joining on HW. Thank you so much.